You too. What's up, baby? How you guys doing this evening? Hey, you know who I am, but you know what? I'm gonna introduce myself anyway. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, Raw and Uncut. Today, hey man, we're in Richardson, Texas. A gentleman who I kind of admire already because he's doing things that I used to do, Mr. Michael Kopf. Introduce yourself, brother. What's going on?
Well, as you said, I'm Michael, and I am. I might be a little flustered because I'm coming off of a big ParaUnity event where we were celebrating bringing the paranormal community together last night. So you'll have to forgive me that my thoughts may be a little flustered.
Hey, that's okay, man. That's okay. Hey, come on the show, relax, enjoy the moment. Hey, just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can tell I'm being myself because I got this hat on
Yep,
my head.
that's why
You
I got
know.
mine on.
All right. Hey, tell the world a little bit about Michael.
So at 2 years old, I had my first paranormal experience, and I kind of grew up and I just kind of accepted it as being a part of what's going on and never really paid much attention to it because I was like, who talks about the paranormal? And so, come years later, I start watching on TV shows like Ghost Hunters or Ghost Hunters International. I was like, man, that's pretty cool that people, are starting to talk about this. But, that's TV. And so, you know, okay. And then somebody on a team found me on Facebook and goes, hey, do you want to join our team? And I was like, wait, this is real? And so I was like, people really do this? And so I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh, I got excited.
Okay, Mike. Where exactly are you? I don't think last time we talked, you're not from Texas. You're from somewhere else. Am I right?
I reside in Texas right now.
Okay, but where were
But
you born? You were born and raised somewhere else?
I was born and raised near Chicago, Illinois.
Shottown, man.
Yep.
Wow. And how long you lived up there?
I was in the Chicago area for 6 years, and then we moved to Texas, and I've been stuck here in the heat ever since.
And you know what, bro? To believe it or not, there are a lot of paranormal investigators in the Chicago area. I ran into maybe like five or six of them. So they might not be big in numbers, but I think they're growing. Um, I know there's a lot of history up there. There's a lot of things going on,
Oh
but
yeah.
definitely, dude, they are definitely getting their foot on the ground up there in Chi-Town. Hey, home of the blues. I love the blues, man. I have not been to Chicago. Last time I was in Chicago, I was 20 years old. I am now 51 years old, and that was the last time I've been up there. Uh,
I'll be honest, you don't look it. I was
is it the
thinking
hat?
around my age in the 40s.
Is it the hat? It's got to be the hat. I mean,
I think it's the personality.
well, you know what? I appreciate it, man. I really do. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, Mike, tell me a little something, man, about this team that you joined. Who are they?
So I'm a part of the tribe, Ghost Ship Hunters, Sirens of the Expanses, and Potter Paranormal.
Okay.
And I'd like to start with Potter Paranormal because that one has a little sadness to it right now. On that, Potter Paranormal was a team that was set up to be like a paranormal 101 school. They wanted to teach everyone how to investigate, how to
Okay.
use equipment, and how to, handle investigations in the proper way, not just go in and not know what you're doing and be like, oh, there's this, and this, and be like, well, actually, that is because of this.
Right.
And now you've convinced somebody something's going on when there isn't something going on.
Right, right.
Like
Get on
he
back.
was saying to me, an example is like you see a flickering light and you're thinking, oh, spirit's communicating with you. Well, it's actually could be a loose wire at the switch.
There you go. Yeah, you're right about that.
That's what I loved. And so they were based out of Mineral Wells. And so I started doing a couple of investigations with them, and they invited me to join, and we were doing an event. And the founders of Potter Paranormal is Eileen Potter and Ken Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And at this event, it was one of the first ones that I was a part of the team. And we were on radio communications. And I said to Ken, I'm still fairly new. You know more about all of this than I do. You sure you want me on radio and leading, these people through? And he said, yeah, and I believe in you. You know what you're doing. And if you get stuck, I'm only a radio call away.
Okay.
Well, come to find out, a little later on in the night, we get a call on the radio, someone's down, and to get a paramedic. And we're like, okay, who's down? What's going on? Where's Ken? Because Ken was the medic. Come to find out, it was Ken.
Oh, wow.
He was down and actually passed away that night.
Oh, man.
And so Potter Paranormal right now is we're trying to keep it alive as a tribute to Ken and to start doing investigations again and doing like paranormal schooling again. So that's why I wanted to start with them, is because I wanted to pay tribute to Ken Potter, who, even though it's been about a little over a year since he passed, it's still, still feel him around and still want to honor his name and what he started and share his vision.
Okay.
Since coming off the ParaUnity event, that seems fitting. That would have been his bag. He would have been all over that, going, yeah, we need to do this, get these people.
Right. That would be very cool if he would have been allowed to see that. Hey, you know what? I already got a comment. A gentleman named John Thunderstorm. Do you see all the comments that are popping up?
I do now. I actually just clicked over. I was on the other chat.
Okay. Yeah, John Thunderstorm, Paranormal King. I have experienced close encounters with demons. Okay, John, can you be more specific? Can you be more specific on exactly what you're talking about? I am not a big thing on demons. I think that's a little bit out of my league. But I do know people that can help you out. So if you could be a little bit more specific on your encounter with demons, maybe we can help you out or stir you in the right direction. And John, yes, I have been ghost hunting in a thunderstorm. If anybody know anything about paranormal investigating, what is the one main energy that entities and ghosts need to, manifest, communicate, and Lord knows what else, they need energy. And I think a thunderstorm it's prime. It's prime.
They love that.
Yeah, they would love that. I definitely had an investigation in a thunderstorm once. And I felt kind of weird because I'm holding metal, camera, and it's literally lightning and everything around me. But you know what? That night, we caught unbelievable evidence. With Mike, I'm going to send you some pictures on what we actually caught in that cemetery during that thunderstorm. You will be shocked. I mean, great pictures. Okay. Mike, what is your most memorable paranormal experience? What is the one thing that stood out in your paranormal life that still stand out today? That's something that you can just automatically just bring up, like, wow.
So before I was investigating with teams and knew about, paranormal investigating, I had a paranormal experience when I was in southern France. I was at Rennes-la-Château, which
Okay.
I'm sure everyone's familiar with that area. The Tour Magdala there and the whole Knights Templar scenario that played out there. Well, so I'm staying in a kind of hotel, kind of living area at the foot of Rennes-la-Château. And so one night, my roommate and I decide, hey, it's nighttime. Let's go exploring. So we start walking up the land and we start walking up towards Rennes-la-Château. And I hear all this rustling in the bushes, like someone's running next to us on both sides of the road. And I start getting this feeling like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. And I tell my roommate, I'm like, I think we need to turn back. And we get all the way up to the gate. And I'm like, the rustling's getting more. It's like something's running beside us. And I'm like, we need to turn back. So we start
Right.
walking back, and the rustling follows us. And so we go do our thing the next day. And then we go, well, let's try it again. Maybe it was just the wind or something.
Mm-hmm.
Why let that spook us,
Right, right.
Trying to put on a brave face. So we start walking up the path again. And this time we notice in the hills behind us, it looks like a snake of torches starts coming towards us.
Wow, really?
And I'm like, that it's like I'm getting chills just remembering this, but it's kind of like if you remember the movie 13th Warrior, where
Mm-hmm.
the things start coming through and they call it the fireworm.
Right.
That's what it felt like I was seeing.
Wow.
It just starts moving down, and I'm like, it's so dark out. I can't see if they're walking on a path or through trees or
Jeez.
what. And so I'm like, all I'm thinking is, okay, if we're going to the city, we need to go fast because I don't want to meet what's coming from those torches. I'm like,
Right.
I'm taking my chances with the city.
There you go. That is crazy. You know what, Mike? I have a bucket list, and France is number one on my bucket list. If I ever want to do a paranormal investigation, it would be that place. Number one, I just wanted to go and visit the beach, Normandy Beach.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to investigate that place, and I can almost guarantee you there's something
Well,
there.
funny story is I have a friend in Europe that does paranormal ghost ship hunting, and that I'm a part of his group. That's the GSH's Ghost Ship Hunters, and he goes every D-Day. He does his best to go to the Normandy beach, and he says it's very dangerous because the Germans mined the beach and all the mines have not been discovered. So he says you have to mark your path and be very, very careful when you're walking through there because it is still an active minefield.
It will blow you up.
Uh, I've mentioned to him a few times saying, when are we going to go there? He's like, I value you as a friend, so I'm going to tell you we're probably not going to go there because it
Wow.
is very dangerous.
Now, is that beach considered a national monument in France, or what? What exactly do they have set for that particular place?
I believe it would be what we would consider a national park.
National park. Okay.
Is they have guards there to keep people out of certain areas. And the real tragedy he was sharing with me one year when he was there was a lot of the tombstones for the soldiers. People
Mm-hmm.
were going and knocking them down or breaking them. And I was like, that is just so wrong, in my opinion. It's such a tragedy.
Yeah, that is totally disrespectful, dude. If I was to pass away and anybody was to come desecrate my grave, I'm gonna fucking haunt them.
Yeah, you'd be on my list.
Yeah.
It's like an
I'll make-
instant bump to the top.
Yep. I am definitely coming to get you because number one, that's so disrespectful.
And there's no need for it.
No, it's not. I mean, I had a friend of mine, believe it or not, Mike. They were dating, and he wanted to impress the girl he was dating. So he decided to go out to one of the creepiest cemeteries in Central Texas, and for some unknown reason, take a headstone. Just take a whole damn headstone. Takes it up to her front door, rings the doorbell, and it's like, "Look, babe, look what I got for you." Took it in her house. He left. I think it stayed there for almost 2 weeks. Man, all hell broke out. I mean, she had things that she couldn't explain happening in her house. You know,
Yeah.
so she calls him up and said, "Hey, man, come get this damn headstone out of my damn house." Because it's definitely got something going on. And the minute, go ahead.
Well, my first question to that would be, what is up with her that she would even accept a tombstone from a cemetery
Exactly. I
for
mean,
2 weeks? I would have been like, the first minute of getting it, be like, if you ever want to see me again, you're gonna go put this right back.
gonna put it right back. And you know what? It took him almost a month because he spent 2 weeks at her house, 2 weeks at his house. He started having damn situations going on, and he decided to take it back. And what's so crazy about it? It didn't stop just because you returned it to where it rightfully belongs. Oh, his problems did not stop at his house.
No, because he did a major
That's a big
Oh.
no-no. That's a big
Yeah.
no-no. You don't do that. Okay, hey Mike, I can see you starting up your own team soon. Is that in your future, or are you just gonna hang out, learn a little bit more, then do what you need to do in the future?
Well, I've kind of been looking at if I was to create a team, who would I, want to investigate with on a team. So I've been kind of looking, and at the same time, I'm kind of watching, being on my own, all the drama that comes up with
Woo.
teams, and I'm like, do I really, have the time and patience to handle all that drama right now,
Yeah,
or do I rather enjoy being on my own? And I think right now I'm enjoying kind of being on teams, but because the teams are so spread out that we really, all of us investigate on our own. So I'm kind of enjoying that because there's no drama with, he said, she said, because we're so far apart, we don't get on each other's nerves.
right. Okay, another question. How you said you was on a team. Now I've heard unbelievable numbers, man, of team members. I mean, as far as 20 to 30 individuals on a paranormal team. To me, I think that's a little outrageous. But how many members did you guys have on that particular team you were on?
The team I started with, which was Dirty South Paranormal, we
Hey, I
were
did. Yeah.
averaging 10 to 15 just so the only reason we had those numbers was to make it cheaper to go to locations, because splitting the cost, like, $100, 10 people, that's a lot more affordable than one person going for $100. So we were deciding, large team could guarantee more spaces, but I've come to consider having a core of 5 or 6 is much better than having 20 to 30 people, because those 5 or 6, are going to be there. You can
Right.
count on them. Something happens, they got your back. It's where you got 20, 30 people that may constantly be rotating. It's kind of hard to go, all right, we're going to go into this asylum and I'm feeling safe because I know you guys have investigated with me and you got my back. If something happens, you'll pick it up and, get me out right away. And so that's why I'm kind of in the format of keeping the teams smaller, because there's that more trust factor of, if you start acting not your normal self, they're going to pick it up by knowing
Right.
you out of that situation and being like, all right, let's get you back to normal and continue
Yeah.
on, or be like, nope, we don't want to risk it again, so we're going to call it.
Right. Now, when you mentioned drama, is that something you've encountered over your, your short time as being on that particular paranormal team, or are you talking just in general?
I've experienced drama on teams, and I've experienced drama from being on my own and just witnessing what others are doing, other teams are doing. And I gotta say, it's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit when I see like teams that are going out just to say we were here and we investigated. And I'm like, that's not a paranormal team. That's not paranormal investigating, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And I also hightailing on something you had mentioned about being careful of what you do and say with people. When I was watching the show Kindred Spirits, I think it was Kindred Spirits, or it may have been Expedition on X, where Amy and Adam were on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they went to a location and said, oh yeah, it was haunted and these spirits were here, but we exorcised them and cleaned the space out. And my jaw just dropped when I heard that. I was like, you've now ruined that place for every other
Right.
spirit that's not been there. And
Yeah.
B, I was like, do you even have permission to do that?
You'd be surprised, bro. You really be surprised on what people say and do on national TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the third thing I was thinking about I started thinking about recently was, do they really even know how to remove a spirit? Because there are some spirits that may agitate people, but they're there keeping other spirits that are much worse at bay. So it's like,
exactly.
you really want that one, not what's coming next.
Next. Yep. I definitely agree with you on that. Uh, like NSPS TV Paranormal, we are not demonologists. We are not there to have a demon or something, really going on out there. Our job is to go and help you figure out what it is. There's no way I'm not qualified to handle something like that. And to me, I think when paranormal investigators go and decide that they want to do that on their own, that they can handle something like that, one, I think they're making a big mistake, because if you've never ever experienced in getting rid of something like that, no telling what the hell you're gonna get yourselves involved with. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's just crazy.
Yeah, I have a friend that she calls herself a demonologist, and she's more knowledgeable than I am on it. And she's someone I trust that I've come to get to know. And she and I were talking one day, and we said, when it comes to removing stuff, if you come across, say, like an elementals are guardians, and they can be friendly, they can be not so friendly.
Exactly.
But here's the kicker: they're protecting the land or the area where they're at. So if you remove them because you don't like the way they're acting around you, you're inviting stuff that's way, way worse.
Yeah.
And you are opening yourself up to a whole lot of stuff you are not ready for. And so she's like, never, ever remove an elemental because you don't know what their job is there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Michael, how big is Richardson, Texas?
We are actually a small city. Just it's a suburb, kind of East Dallas, near Garland, south of Plano. I mean, we're big enough to be on a map, but we're not big enough, I would say, to be like, yeah, you say like Dallas, Austin, everybody knows those cities, Houston or El Paso, everyone's heard of those. Richardson, it's like, yeah, we're known, but we're not like
Badly.
such a big name city.
Oh, okay. Now, what's the historical value? I mean, not historic value. What is the history of that town?
So we started out being a kind of cotton kind of plantation town,
Okay.
and the railroad came through, and then of course, as everything goes, the railroad moved. And so the town kind of had to sit there and decide what they're going to do. And all of a suddenly, like Garland was starting to grow on one of their borders. Plano started coming in. Dallas was growing. And so they're like, okay, we need to incorporate ourselves and get our boundaries. And
Right.
it has one of the funkiest boundaries I've seen in a town. Like, we'll go a straight line across the top for one city, then it drops down, then it comes over a little bit, drops down, and comes back up, and then it's like another city. So there's like a little. It's like we stole some land from another city. It's like a little niche right
That
in there.
little lynch. Okay. Hey, is it full of history? Would
I think the history that I've seen from looking stuff up and going, like, our civic center has like a whole bunch of pictures of the old days, those black and white photos of like the 1900s when things just were starting, that it does have a lot of rich history, but it's not the history of like, oh, cattle rustlers were coming through or mobsters were popping through, traveling through to other places. So it's kind of like what I like to call the quiet, serene history,
okay. So
where it's like people are just being themselves, doing,
whatever they
whatever.
do.
It's like, wow, somebody built the first mill here, or somebody built, the first post office came in, and how cool that would be. And then having like Chicago, where it's like, yeah, this is where the massacre took place, and it
Yeah.
was a drive-by where these people were taken out by these mobsters.
Yeah, right. Hey, how often do you get out, man? How often would you like to investigate?
Um, I used to think once or twice a month would be enough because being the traveling out and everything, and I've started recently where I started realizing places aren't as far as I thought they were.
Okay.
Like an example is there was a ghost town, and my friend Carla, who popped in to say hey,
Yeah.
she and I were talking, and she's like, "Hey, there's this cemetery in this ghost town." I was like, "Yeah, but that's like so far away." She goes, "It's actually only 20 minutes from where we're gonna be on the 23rd." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, let's
And I
roll.
was like, "That's so close." And so we literally went over there, and so it's like so instead of doing 2 investigations this month, I did 3.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool.
And so as I'm starting to realize places are not as far as I think they are, yeah, I like doing more, but I also like having the freedom now that I'm learning how to do videos of the investigations,
Mm-hmm.
that the investigations are what we can come up with them. Like an example is the cemetery that she and I went to. It was such a windy day that if I used my videos from the investigation, all you'll hear are wind.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I can't really do that because that's going to be annoying, especially if people had their headphones on
Right.
full volume to try and hear EVPs. It's like, yeah, nobody wants to listen to the wind.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, what can I do? And one of the things that I started noticing when we were out there was this cemetery is different from any cemetery I have been to in that there are placards to peoples that are buried there and what they did for the town. Like an Italian gentleman might have been a miner, or this gentleman may have been a union worker and headed up a union strike. And so I was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. And so instead of doing an investigation where I had the videos and photos saying, hey, look at this or look at that, I just was like, you know what? I'm going to flip this. And I made the video saying, here's my video, the intro, but check out these photos. Check out the history here. And so instead of
Ah, okay. I get you.
a paranormal ghost adventure, it was like a paranormal trip through history.
There you go. Hey, you
And
know what?
keeping the history of the ghost town alive.
That's a good idea because I've run across that so much, Mike, where you think you're the thing is, man, when you go and you get set up for an investigation, you check just about every little detail prior to going to where you need to go. But it always that one damn mic.
Yep.
Either the battery is low or you lose the tip of it and all it's doing is sucking up wind and it just irritates the hell out of you. That happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And dude, when I went and reviewed the video, all I hear was I'm like, oh my fucking God, what the hell am I gonna do with this shit? But it happens. But you know what? Hey, I don't mean to be a taker, but I might take your idea and run with it.
Hey, go for it. That's what ParaUnity is all about.
I might take your idea and run with it. Mike, you mentioned something about cemetery because what we were just talking about.
Right.
Is that something that you like to do? What is your favorite place to investigate? Cemeteries, houses, abandoned? Where do you feel comfortable going, and especially when you're by yourself?
By myself, I like going to buildings really because I call them like scouting investigations where I'll go around the building and take photos and kind of get a feel for it and be like, yeah, is this A, big enough to warrant bringing a team to, or B, is there anything here to bring a team to see? And so it's like, I feel like I call them scouting because it's like I'm going there with the intention of going, yeah, if I have a team, would I, I know that historically there's going to be something here because of the name attached to the building, but is there really something here? Or is it just the hype of the name will make people think, oh, yeah, there's something there. So everybody jumps over there. And I'm like, I'm one of those that I'm like, if I'm going someplace, I know I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to pick up evidence,
Right.
right then and there and know it when I go home. That I may feel like I got nothing, but the second I get home and put it on computer and start reviewing everything, you start to say, oh, how did I miss that? Or I didn't hear that. So
Wow.
I love the fact we never ever leave a location with nothing.
With nothing.
There's always something, but it's that feeling of you have to get past going, yeah, I was at this building, but I didn't get any feelings. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. So there's nothing there.
Nothing.
And it's like, there actually could be something there. It's
Yeah.
just you missed it in the moment because you're focused on something else. And so that's one of the big things I like to tell people when they say, what's the number one rule you find of paranormal investigating? I say is go in open, meaning no expectations, no outcome desired, no nothing. Just go in, you do it, and you leave.
And you leave. There you go.
Because that way you're not sitting there going, crap, I wasted 3 hours over nothing. Because you're going to get home and go, well, I spent 3 hours out there, but now I got this. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Right.
There's something in this photo I didn't notice because, the camera screens are so small. And so that leads me to a funny story is I was investigating Jefferson, Texas with Carla, and we were on the ghost walk, and we had announced we were paranormal investigators before we started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and I took my camera up on my phone and took a picture. And somebody walks up to me and goes, you're a paranormal investigator, right? I said, yeah. He goes, what did you see? I'm like, I just took a photo. I don't know. And I was like, well, I had to take it. I was nice and polite. It's like, well, I had to take and put it on a computer to see. I don't know right now if I got anything or not. And he was like, oh, okay. And what's funny is in my head, the script that I've seen in my head that I'm keeping myself from laughing is, yes, I have such an advanced phone that when I take a picture, it says, okay, in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find an anomaly here. And over here on the left is going to be a ghost. So
right.
Got you hooked up.
Oh, well, that is so funny. Yeah, I've run across people like that all the time. I mean, I got logos on my van and I drive around. I had people stop me and ask me all kind of weird questions. And I'm like, dude, you know I'm in the middle of a damn street, right? There's cars behind me, But hey, check it out, Michael. If you was to start a paranormal team, would you have bylaws?
What do you mean by bylaws?
Would you have a set of rules that people will have to go by? Even though they might, because I run across, different paranormal, teams that have bylaws. You required this, you required that. You must have your own equipment, and if you don't do your own editing with your own equipment, we're going to cut you off the team. It's just a lot of crazy things that people put in their bylaws that they want their members to do. And to me, I just think it's a bunch of crap, that you put that much on individuals. First of all, we have to realize we're doing this because we love to do it. It's not a job. We're not getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So you can't go there's no way you can go through all these laws, rules, and regulations like it's a full-time job, and you're not paying anybody. I understand if you're making money and you're paying your your damn members, and and you can go ahead and you know put bylaws in on what very specific on what you want your team members to do. But dude, come on, if you you know, just a
And
team, there's no reason to go and put 101 bylaws where individuals have to follow. To me, I just think you running members. Running members. It's hard enough to get members to join your team.
right.
Because people think you're a nut anyway. Because you're
Yeah.
doing this.
I
You
think
know,
in hearing what you're saying, I think the bylaws that I would probably have for my team would be is be respectful of the location we're going to, be respectful of people's privacy. So if we're going someplace and they don't want it, all over the place being known as being haunted or anything, don't go posting all over and saying, "Hey, we were at this house and we went and this place is haunted," because that's not what they want. And I always feel like that's disrespectful. And third is be respectful of each other and knowing each person is not in the same space that you are and doesn't know what you know. So you may be great at editing, somebody else can be great at camera work, tech. Somebody can be great at looking at photos and saying, "Oh my gosh, there's a spirit there, there's a spirit there, or there's an orb here." And so I would say the bylaw to me on that would be is work together as a unit, support each other. Don't put anybody down and go, "Oh, you have to do your own," because they may not know how to look at a video and saying, "Oh, there was at this time like 10 seconds worth of film where you would say that was prime evidence," and trim it down, cut it out, paste it into something else, and make a nice video for people.
right.
So I would be more of the, we're a community. I'd run the team as a community family. So basically, it would be being respectful, but my number one rule that I would have that I would say unequivocally you cross it, and I would probably have to look at the circumstances to say if you could stand the team or not, is leave your personal drama at the door.
Exactly.
Don't bring it into the investigation or bringing it on site, because if you're not in the right frame of mind, I don't feel like you should be investigating, because you're opening yourself up to things. So you're becoming a danger to yourself and others. And I don't mean danger as in you're going to go homicidal and start stabbing everybody. I just mean a danger of you're going to bring something back with you that, may be like an attachment that's doing harm. And you're going to be like starting to lash out at people and be like, where is this coming from? That's
Right.
what I mean by harm, is just not being yourself. And it's just, I think, bringing back the integrity that we need back in the field of, if you find something, great. Have people you trust on the team or outside of the team validate what you found, because I'm not saying what you found is right or wrong, but there's no harm in saying, "Hey, I heard a voice here," and then giving that clip to somebody else and saying, "Hey, what do you hear?" And if they say, "Well, I heard this," even if it's not what you heard, they still heard a voice. Well, you still got your validation that there is a voice there.
Right.
And so that's where I think some people get hung up is because everybody wants everyone to hear everything. And so they get so excited. Like if I get an EVP that says hi, and I go to you, for example, and go, hey, do you hear hi? Your mind automatically, whether you're consciously thinking about it or not, is going to go, okay, listening to it and go, oh, I heard hi. Well, if
Hmm.
I didn't say hi, would you have heard hi or would you have heard something else maybe?
Exactly. I
And
feel what
so that's where I've learned to start getting, careful how you phrase what you're giving other people because you got to be cautious of planting an idea. And the ironic thing about that is we did an experiment last night at the ParaUnity event where we were hearing a muffled voice on an EVP and we couldn't make out what it was saying because we didn't have a computer to enhance it. And so we played it like twice. And then one of my investigator friends, Kellen, goes, I think I hear maybe in a number. And he came up with the number like 5. And he goes, I think it says maybe 5. And I said to everybody that was there, I go, okay, we're going to replay this. But instead of listening for the voice, listen for maybe and see what number you get. And seeing if everybody goes, oh, yeah, we got maybe in a number. Well, the ironic thing is we play it back, and all of a sudden everybody goes, I think it's saying, I don't know. So we got a totally different.
that is funny. Oh, that is so funny. Wow. Hey, me and you watched it TV a million times.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about these paranormal TV shows starting from, well, my era is a little different from your era. My era of paranormal started back in the 70s. Uh, we're just going to stoke, freaking ghost hunters out there. How do you feel about ghost hunters and what they brought to the table? The first, I'm going to say the first 4 seasons before they went crazy and started doing all that other crap that they started doing. How do you feel about that?
Well, actually, I can say unequivocally, doesn't matter what season it was. I like the fact that they brought awareness that anybody can go and be a paranormal investigator. You don't have to be special trained or gifted. I mean, let's be honest, we had 2 plumbers as an example
You're right.
leading a team. And so it was like, I mean, I have a great respect for plumbers, don't get me wrong, but it's like you don't think of plumbers as investigators of anything other than, what their field is. And so
Plumbers.
because there are no experts in my opinion in the paranormal,
No.
that I love the fact that they brought it to me to being anybody can do this. Anybody can go to a location, try the equipment that they have, see what they get.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, I totally shy away from usually editing any footage. The most editing I will ever do is just trimming it down to what I want you to hear or see with the little title card in front of it that says, hey, we heard this sound or I heard this in review. What do you hear? And just leave it blank and just let people listen to just that snippet to see what they get. Because I'm always on the back of my mind going, if I start editing this too much, I don't want to come across as faking anything.
Right.
Because to me, the real thing is so much better that you don't need to fake anything, because the real is like on its own level. It's like, I don't even know how people even attempt to try to fake, because it's like, why? So what? You didn't get a chair moving. You got like these voices, or you got these shadow lights moving and appearing. Why do you need a chair to move?
Right.
And I think that's a little bit of the two disservice that the TV shows have done. Is one, they're expecting these grandiose experiences to say, oh yeah, this is what's haunted, because we had a door slam, or we had a chair move, or something was thrown across the room. And they're like, unless I get those three things, it's not paranormal. I'm like, yeah, it can be.
Right.
And the other disservice is, like I was mentioning on the walk with that gentleman, they make everything look like, because it's an hour show, everything is so instant, that they took out from the beginning of Ghost Hunters. I always loved when they showed them in the hotel rooms, sitting there with their headphones on, listening, or sitting there looking at the screen, going, picture by picture. And they don't do that anymore. And I think that's a little disservice, because that's, to me, is the quintessential part, is the review.
Right. You're definitely right. Have you ever been hit, scratched, touched in any
I
area you tested?
I have had my arm like pressure, like feels like something's grabbing it and like trying to pull it. I have had where I was standing in a door frame, and you know that sound when somebody grabs like a little piece of fabric and flicks it.
Right.
I felt and heard that behind me, and I'm like, I'm in a doorway, nobody's around me, and I'm near a room where somebody was accused of murder. I'm like, what the hell is behind me? And it's like, I'm pausing and going, do I really want to turn around and look right now?
Right. That's yeah.
But
I've got pushed off a bench one time, and it messed my head up for a couple of days, dude. I mean, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. That's something I thought about 24/7, and it really messed my head up. I mean, actually been physically touched, or have some kind of contact with something you can't see. Oh man, it can definitely have effect on you big time. And I'm like,
right.
oh, okay.
Which is another reason why I was mentioning, the big rule of being in the right frame of mind, because if you're distracted by something and all of a sudden you feel something grab you, you are gonna go
Yeah.
nuts, and they're going, what just touched me? Who? It's got to be one of you. And it's gonna be like, you are totally missing everything that's going on, because you are flipping out
And
or
yeah.
overreacting.
And just imagine if you by yourself and something like that's happened. You're gonna make a new front door because you're not gonna find the one that exit. You're gonna make your own. They're gonna just get the hell out of there. And
Well, what's interesting is, I was mentioning last night in my intro on my background is, I have never, alone or with people, experienced yet anything that caused me to run out of a building. I have been feeling like something's trying to push me through a floor, hear voices, and I will run to the voice. I don't run from the voice. And I was like, apparently I'm wired to run towards
yeah.
whatever it is to see what it is, instead of going, okay, that's not natural, I need to get out.
But you know what? That's a making of a good paranormal investigator. When you have those, those feelings where you want to think you want to do something, but in your right mind, you got to go the other way, to actually figure out what's going on. That's a good quality. One of the main qualities in being a paranormal investigator is running towards it instead of running away from it, because that's the reason why we're paranormal investigators. We're there to investigate. If we want to run from something, we can go run a damn marathon, and you can run all damn day. But yeah, definitely, it's that's good.
It used to crack me up when I was watching the shows when you'd hear someone go, "Did you hear that?" And you're like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And everybody in the room is like, "Yeah, I heard that."
I heard it.
And I was like, "Heard what?" And it's like they do the replay, and I'm like, "I still don't hear what you're hearing." Until they'll say, "Oh, we heard this sound," and then all of a sudden, when they replay, you're like, "Oh, that." Okay, yeah, now I hear it. It's like, well, yeah, because you told me what I'm listening
Well,
for.
told me what you're listening for. Thanks a lot for that. Hey, yeah, that's
I've started
crazy.
noticing in places now where, while investigating, I'll hear something and I'll catch myself and I'll be like, going, "Did y'all just hear that?" And somebody will say, "Yeah," and other people are like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, so that's cool. I hope I got it on camera."
Yeah. Most of the time when we're investigating, I always tell my team, if you hear something, let's not say anything until the end of the investigation. So when we go back and review the footage and the audio, and that's where when everybody's together, everybody can hear it at the same time. Did you guys hear that? Everybody's got their microphones on, and we're able to hear that, and we can all come to the same conclusion instead of, like you're saying, hey, you guys hear that, and you're like, well, what the hell was it? Then turn around, yeah, I heard that. No, I'd rather just wait till the end of the investigation at the reveal, then we'll come together and do it that way. Okay.
Well, I kind of like that idea, but I kind of like too, though, during the investigation, if you're hearing like footsteps or something, to call it out and go, "Did y'all hear those? Hear that?" And if somebody else says, "Yeah, I heard footsteps," then okay, there is something over there, and you might shift your investigation over to there to figure out, okay, what's coming in here, versus going, "Oh man, if we had known that was going on, man, we missed out something in the other room."
Yeah.
Well, there are some times that I'm like, it is good to go, "Yeah, you heard that knocking sound or that footstep over there. Let's go check it out."
Okay. I feel you. I feel you on that one. I feel you. Now, we were just talking about distance wise, as far as you going, here and there to investigate. How far are you willing to travel, Michael, for an investigation?
I have traveled to Oklahoma, which is like 3 hours from where I live, to investigate. I've traveled about 4.5, 5 hours to go to Ballinger, Old City Park Hotel. Love that spot. I have gone to Yorktown Memorial Hospital, which is about 6, 7 hours from me. So I'm willing to travel, but I'd like to, if I'm gonna travel the far distance, I've started now to where, like you asked me earlier, how many investigations do I like to do? If I'm gonna travel over, like say to Yorktown, which is like 6 hours, I'll start looking at what's around Yorktown. So instead of going and investigating, sleeping in, driving home, being like, okay, I go, hey, I can leave earlier and go check out this town. There's this town that's over there. I can check that out the next day. Maybe make it a 2-night,
There you go. Yeah.
stay and investigate over here as well. Or, go check out this area. And so it's like I feel like I make more use out of the time instead of going, okay, yeah, I went there and did that.
Right.
Like Yorktown for Texas is around Goliad, which is where a massacre happened during the Revolution for Texas. There's Gonzales, which a lot of people forget is the first shots of the Revolution that started it. And I now found out the first capital of Texas, Washington on the Brazos, is near there. So I'm like, if I go back, I want to go there and hit, just experience that spot, see what's there, anything. And so I've started like spreading it out and going, okay, what more can I do while I'm there to make the most use out of this time
Right.
instead of, okay, yeah, let's go one time to this spot, one time to this spot.
Well, okay, I can see that. You got to make, if you're gonna go there for 6 hours, bro, you might as well enjoy the weekend out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get your money's worth. That's I'm with you on that one. Definitely. How much money are you willing to spend for an investigation? How much ducats are you willing to spend, bro?
I think it depends on the location. Like, Carl and I going to Jefferson, we split the cost of the hotel. Even though we had 2 rooms, we split it 50-50. And if we did any investigation stuff, we would say, okay, yeah, well, you paid for dinner, I'll pay for this investigation.
Okay,
Or,
that's
split it, so expenses aren't like, oh my gosh, you're dropping $1,000 to do an investigation on a weekend.
yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, it's more manageable. And if you have somebody that's willing to travel with you and investigate with you, that's the best thing. And Carla, bless her heart, we were at the ParaUnity event and I started investigating with her, and she kind of got me to stop in my tracks, which is hard to do because she introduced me to someone and goes, "Oh, look, it's Michael. He's my investigation husband." And I was like,
What?
"Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! I just heard the word husband. What?" And I was like, "Oh, investigation husband. Yes, I want to."
That is so funny. That is so. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't put nothing past her.
But and that's the other thing that I think is key that I got from watching the Tennessee Rate Chasers. If you're gonna investigate, I started out being serious and treating it like, hey, we're trying to make this legitimate field. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna approach it like a scientist doing, X, Y, Z. And then it's like I watch the Raid Chasers and they're sitting there playing pranks on each other, initiating people, having fun. And I was like, man, that looks more fun.
Right, Mike?
And
Give me a moment, bro. I gotta go do something right quick. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. I had to go tinkle. All
Hey,
right.
when nature calls, you better answer.
Right. Woo. I have to. Okay.
So yeah, and so where I was going with it is saying is I learned having fun on investigations actually brought more stuff out, and that you had to have some fun with it.
Yeah. I think it's me myself. I think an investigation is 90% fun, 10% uh, serious, because the serious part is when you're actually going and doing the research on the place. If you research anything. So it's 90-10. I mean, I'm good with that, because me myself, I like having fun, and the other 10, I like, doing a lot of history, because you learn a lot,
Right.
on wherever you're going and all that stuff. Hey, Mike, you brought up a cool something I wanted to talk to you about. Man, it slipped my mind. Uh, how often do other teams, say, "Hey, Mike"? Mike. Hey, man, come hang out with us for a while. How often does that happen? How often do you get the chance to do a joint investigation with another, paranormal team, and you get the opportunity to learn new things from them? Just by sitting back and watching, and observing them and what they do and what they're about. How often does that happen up there with you?
For me, on average, I would say it used to be once or twice every 3 or 4 months, but here lately, I've started um, investigating more with like Carla, and Carla's a part of a team. Uh, Let me see if I can get this right because their name is a little tricky. Southern Fried Spirits Paranormal. I hope I
Yeah.
got that right, Carla. If I didn't, correct me. But and I got a chance to investigate a location I've investigated several times with them,
Uh-huh.
and we gelled really well. And I said, "Yeah, if you guys get it ever, investigating, let me know, and I'll come along." And they were like, "Yeah, well, in May next month we're doing this," and it just happened to be right around my mom's birthday and Mother's Day. And I said, "Unfortunately, I can't." Because the day before Mother's Day, as usual, I'm on an investigation because I don't ever look at the calendar. I'm always going, yeah, that date's free. Okay.
Sound like me.
And so I was like, out of respect for family, because I kind of view family first. I'm like, I'm keeping that weekend for my mom. And she's like, that's so cool. And
Okay, I understand that.
respects that. And so as they're doing more things, I have a feeling now that we had the rapport we have, I'll be getting more invites on stuff they're doing. And the tribe is an interesting team that's fairly new. It's probably like not even a year old yet. And um, the interesting thing about the tribe, I was talking with a couple of my teammates last night at the ParaUnity event, going, we're sitting here talking about ParaUnity being, everybody collaborating and supporting each other and, being there for each other and investigating and, being there. And I was like, that's exactly what the tribe is for us. It's somebody gathered a bunch of paranormal investigators from different backgrounds. Actually, she probably won't get upset, is Shauna from Mineral Wells called us up and was like, hey, would you guys be willing to investigate this location to see if it's haunted? And we had never investigated together, a lot of us. And we were like, yeah, because we're friends with her. She calls, we're like, hey, we'll help you out, yeah. And all of a suddenly, it's like, she's like, well, you guys are like my go-to team, so we're gonna call it the Tribe. And I was
Cool.
like, that is cool. And it literally is a bunch of paranormal investigators from different teams that we get together occasionally and investigate together and check stuff out. And so it's really cool because we sit there and it's kind of like doing ParaUnity events when we're out there. Is somebody will do EVP work and show you different techniques of how you can get possible EVPs. Like, do you do one question in a round? Or do you have multiple people asking different questions? Or if you're getting something, like you feel like you're getting responses, you teach how to curtail all your questions towards that and focus on that part.
Cool.
And so that is one of the cool things I think about, I think I'm fortunate of being asked to be a part of it, is able to share all of our knowledge with everybody, and everyone on that team doesn't sit there and say, well, I've had 10 years experience, so I'm the master of this, so I'm going to tell you this is how this is done and that's that. We all just sit there and we're like, hey, you heard this? Really? That's cool. I heard this. Wow, that's cool. Or wow, I seen that. Did you see that? Or and we just are like, everyone's on equal footing, and it's like, I feel like we're like a circle. Is There's no head, there's no point that you could say, okay, that's where it starts, and then we go from there. We really, in my opinion, respect each other and really support each other. And to me, I think that's what's kind of missing in the community. And that's kind of what I think these ParaUnity events are ballooning from, is taking what we have found that works and saying, okay, now let's show the community how we can do this on a community level, and then maybe it'll go statewide. Who knows? There's no limits to where it could go.
Right, right.
But
Hey, sky's the limit, bro.
yeah,
Sky.
but it's like, it's interesting because it's like we all are just natural. We just feel like we're comfortable being who we are. And we know if something's out of our wheelhouse, we're like, hey, that's more of this person's wheelhouse. And so when I started getting EVPs on stuff, Kellen is a whiz at EVPs and like going, yeah, I heard it. Or, oh, you probably heard more like feedback, and, it just, your mind is matrixing it into a sound. And so I'm like, oh, well, that's cool to know that the mind can do that. And it's like we talk to each other on such a level that it's like, yeah, it makes sense. And that's really cool. And so we naturally gel and play off each other and communicate. And it's like, I don't have the fear of going, oh man, am I going to be sounding stupid if I send this clip to somebody and going, do you hear something when there's nothing there? Because
Yeah.
it's like my mind feels like there's something there. And that's what I think is the greatest thing about it, is we can reach out to each other and say, hey, what are you experiencing? What are you hearing off of this?
Okay, that's cool. Hey, are you a religious individual?
As far as religion goes, I kind of view myself as a spiritualist,
You're a
meaning
spiritualist?
I do believe in God. I also believe in goddesses. And I believe everybody has a right to believe what they want to believe. And so if you're devout Catholic and you're a paranormal investigator, I'm like, dude, you're a paranormal investigator. That's
Right.
cool. I
Yeah.
don't sit there and go, well, I can't investigate with you because your beliefs are this or that. I'm like, to me, it has no bearing.
Has no bearing. I understand that. The reason why I asked that question is because every paranormal team has a ritual or what they do pre and post investigations. Like NSPS TV, we always pray before we go into a certain situation. Most individuals listen to classic music. Most of the people listen to blues. It just depends on who the individual is.
Right.
What do you guys do as far as the tribe? What do you guys do when you guys getting ready to go into a certain location?
Actually, the funny thing that we do to get ready is some of us will kind of go off on tandem and maybe hang out in a cemetery, just sitting around, and we start taking photos and poses and just having some little fun and be like just kind of laying back and relaxing and unwinding and just getting ourselves, I think, in a way, we're getting ourselves mentally prepared to go the proverbial battlefield.
Okay.
But we're not sitting there going, okay, I got this on, I got this, I got this. Okay, we're going to do this. We said this. It's more like we're entering the state of mind of going, okay, I am calm, I'm centered, I'm in a good space. Let's go do this. And there are, times where, depending on where we're going, we'll be like going, okay, spirits, we're calling you in, and these are the spirits we want. And if you're not willing to abide by that, can you please allow the ones that are to come in? And meaning, like, if we're calling spirits in, we're like, hey, we want spirits of the soldiers that were here. Come and talk to us. And when we're done, we're like, thank you for talking with us. And we release them back. We don't ever make any spirits, quote, stay where we put them, or force them to be locked into something. We understand spirits can go wherever they want,
Right.
locked to a location, but we also understand we invited them, and so they're our guests. So if we're leaving, our guests need to leave too.
Oh,
But we also give them the option, if they want to stay and they're going to be respectful of the location they're in, they are welcome to do so. So, I mean, and in a way, it's like, I know that sounds weird to be telling a spirit you can, of like a soldier going, you can stay on this military base if you want, or you can go home, because it's like he's a spirit. He'll go where
right.
he wants to go. But to me, I think the one thing that a lot of paranormal investigators don't realize is when you open a portal, you got to close that portal.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think a lot of teams don't understand how portals work really. And they'll like go, okay, I want to talk to so and so and so and so. And they think they're just talking to the spirit that's there. Well,
Hmm.
that spirit may not be there, so you're opening a portal for them to come in. So if you don't close that portal, other spirits can start coming in
Yep.
because you invited, and that's a fine line that I used to not really like pay a lot of attention to. I used to just watch that I do it, and if
Hmm.
I'm part of it, I close it. But I was at a jail, the Lavaca County Jail in Texas,
Hmm.
near San Antonio, and I was walking, and I kept getting the feeling like I was being watched, and that something was like watching me, and it was like, and it was starting to make me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, okay, something's gonna try something. So I'm like on edge and watching for it. So I'm like, if I can get ahead of it, I can keep it from doing anything and be all good. And I let my guard down of being aware of my surroundings. And I
Uh-oh.
walked into a portal. And the second I stepped into it, it's like I could just feel stuck. I couldn't move my feet. I was like, I could feel the energy and everything in me just draining out to the point that I was leaning on the wall with my shoulder. And one of my old teammates that I used to investigate with tapped me on the shoulder. I mean, it was a gentle tap. I actually collapsed to the floor.
Wow.
How low of energy I was in that moment. And the second they tapped me, and it's like I don't even know if I hit my head or not on the metal, but it's like you see the impact because it's on my YouTube channel. And I'm like, all of a sudden, it's like, I'm like, what's going on? You know, why am I on the ground? And it's like, I feel myself back in my body, normal or as normal as can be in that moment. And I'm like, okay. And they escorted me out and got me water, which was good. And got me recentered, the chance to recenter, ground, and everything. And I had no idea what had just happened because I had never experienced anything like that. And I was talking to a friend in Colorado, and he goes, "You stepped into a portal." That's exactly what everybody says when you go into one of these portals. Is your energy's drained, you lose all consciousness, awareness of your surroundings, what's going on. You have no concept of time. And so he actually put me on to quince seed, which is a blessed seed from some nuns in Italy. And so now when I'm investigating, since I have that on, it's like it prevents me from getting stuck in those portals.
Okay.
And I usually, like, I've been to some places where I'm like, there's a portal over there, there's a portal over there. I can kind of feel and sense the natural paranormal ones.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of was like in my mind going, since I missed this one, I think a team might have opened something up, and I don't know who, and I'm just guessing that like investigators or somebody opened up something, didn't realize they opened something, and just left it there, and I just happened to stumble into it. And so I made it like my video, instead of being like about it going, you know, don't do this, I was like, this is why we have to be careful about opening portals,
Portals.
investigating. This is what could happen.
Yeah.
And then I show what happened to me. And so it's like, I love the fact that I could have turned it into a, oh my God, this is a don't do, you know, video. But instead, I turned it into a teaching video of going, yeah, this is why you have to be aware and careful what you're doing and how you're doing it, because you may think it's closed, but it ain't closed.
Exactly. That's why I forbid to use some of my team members like, hey, let's use a Ouija board just to,
Uh-huh.
no, we don't use Ouija boards. We don't use haunted items because I heard, certain haunted items can open portals. There's so many things that they can do that I just don't want to take that chance on anybody getting hurt. Like
Right.
at the beginning of our podcast, uh, as we were talking, I was saying, well, that's out of my expertise. You know what I'm saying? So that's another one that's out of my
Yeah.
expertise. Uh, I've yet to.
Well, the Ouija board, I don't like people. like being around people that use them, because half the people maybe have an idea of what they're doing. Half the people treat it as a game, and it's
Kids.
in essence it is a game, but every game, there's something always underlined to that game that people don't really pay attention to.
Yep.
And three-quarters of the people may be aware of, who they're communicating with and doing it right, but they don't remember at the end to be like, okay, I'm putting this away, and so we're done. This portal is closed. This session's closed. This is it. We're done. And instead, they're like, okay, I assume because I put the game away, it's closed. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that. Not at all. If people see, the thing about people is being a paranormal investigator is not that hard if you use a little common sense. If you have just an inch of common sense, you can probably be one of the best investigators on the planet. As if you use just that much of common sense. Now, the ones that are starting out, they want to jump into shit they know nothing about. They're not using any common sense. That's straight. That's straight. Just straight stupidity. And you're bound to get yourself hurt or somebody else hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And
That's
it's
why,
crazy.
that's why, going back and hitting on the TV shows, why I didn't mention Ghost Adventures, because I absolutely do not like how Zach sits there and says, okay, Ghost, I know you scratched so and so I'm sending in so and so you can scratch them and do whatever you're going to do. I'm like, dude, you're throwing someone under the bus. You don't have the guts to go in yourself. And I'm like, and that's not even how you investigate.
Yeah, dude, I think
Antagonize.
yeah, you know what? I didn't watch that show, man, because I thought it was a couple of arrogant people that I just cannot. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's got some balls on him. They are so freaking arrogant. I can say half the. Some of them are cool, but the other half had some cojones on them that I really didn't like.
Yeah.
If I sense a certain type of vibe that I think that's not good, I'm not going to waste my time with that TV show. Now I do love the Dead Files. I mean, I think that show was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I do love Katrina Whiteman. Woo! That is my paranormal wife right there.
I personally think she came to life on the portals to hell.
Yeah.
I think in that she is more able to be herself and do what she likes to do than on the other shows that I've seen her in.
Yeah. Matter of fact, my friend Kyle Into the Pit just had a podcast with her last week. And I was so freaking jealous, dude. I wanted to drive all the way to Beta, unplug his damn internet, and fucking drive all the way back to Cedar Park. That's how I like, man, this is my girl. And you sitting up here having a damn podcast with her, and I wasn't invited on the damn show. What the hell's wrong with you, Kyle? But yeah, dude. Dude, she is lovely. I will definitely love to meet her one day. Hey, Mike, before we end the show, how did you guys, the tribe, what did you guys do during the COVID pandemic? Was you guys active or was you non-existent, like with 85% of the paranormal teams here in Texas?
Well, because we're all in different cities, it depended on the counties and the cities we were in. So, like, me being in Richardson, I'm near Dallas, so we're under what Dallas said. And so for like a year and a half, Dallas was like nobody can go anywhere. Nobody, we got to be 6 feet apart, wearing a mask. You can't go to work unless you're essential or doing this or that. And so it just was like, instead of going through the risk of being pulled over and going, hey, why are you out? And, where's your quote unquote COVID papers? We were like, let's just not investigate right now. And so when they started getting more relaxed about that and letting people travel some, I kind of started getting to where I would go out maybe once a month and investigate somewhere local or a little bit of distance, but I kind of stayed in the States so that because I knew if I went out of state, there was a chance I'd have to be like 2-week quarantined
Yeah.
to go into that state, and then another 2-week quarantine to come back into my state. And I was like, it's not worth it. So just stay in the state and just keep your head under the radar and just kind of sneak around a little bit, going here or there. It kind of, at first, when we first went into lockdown and everybody was like stopping, I had a couple investigations lined up and they were like, oh, we had to close and we can't investigate these locations because of the COVID. And I was like, because of COVID, the spirits are dead. The spirit's sick. So why can we not go in and, investigate and communicate with these spirits? And it's like, in my mind, I'm not thinking about the people I'm with. I'm like thinking about what I'm wanting to do.
Dude.
And I'm like, the logic behind this is like not making any sense to me. But yeah, so I did a little bit of investigating during the COVID locally, like here and there, but no big investigations like with large teams. I kept it kind of small.
Okay. Cool. All right, Mike, tell the world how to get a hold of you if they want to talk to you.
You can find me on Facebook, Michael Kopf, or which I'm friends with Terry. So if you can find me on his friends list if he has it not hidden.
No.
But and you can find me on YouTube. It's Michael Micheal.Koff, I believe, is my YouTube channel, and I tend to try my best to put a video out a week, and if I do, like this interview, if Terry allows it, I will post it on my channel as well as his channel.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I may have 2 that week. So it's just, to me, I like spreading the word, and my channel is all about what interests me and my paranormal journey. So if you go looking through there, you may see like solar lights, and you're like, what? What's so paranormal about this? I'm like, it's not. It's just something I liked,
Yeah,
and so
right.
I shared it. I'm like, I view it as it's my channel, and the description says what interests me and my paranormal journey. And right now on my channel, I've kind of recently done a little introspection, and I did a YouTube video on my childhood and what made me who I am right now, kind of growing up, what was I exposed to. Then I did a part 2, which was my travels, like international travels and
Right.
within the US travels. I did 2 videos of that one, and I put them both out at the same time because I was viewing it as one video, 2 parts. You can watch the international if you want, You can watch the US if you want. And the fun thing about watching my videos from the beginning till now is you'll see how my skills of making these videos has changed.
Okay.
And it comes from me just talking to, hey, there's pictures, to, hey, there's videos within it, or hey, here's a full investigation. Here's a snippet of was found there. Oh, here is now just what was found at this investigation, to oh, now there's music to the videos. And so
Hold
it's
on,
like,
Mike. Hold on, Mike, for a minute. Hold on for a sec. Behave yourself. All right. Sorry about that, bro.
no, that was perfect timing because it actually stopped me in my thought, and I got to think about what I was about to say and go, wow, I just thought of it in a whole new way.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was going to say, you can see my evolution of, how I was filming it, but really it's an evolution of my journey, because you see how I started to what I've learned how to do stuff, to now being like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
a whole new level. And so you get to see as my channel grows how I'm growing.
And you know what? I can definitely relate to you on that because me being an older gentleman, dude, I don't understand half the technology that's on this computer I got right now. I mean, when it comes to editing and all that stuff, that's the reason why I decided to do raw and uncut. That's why I ain't got to mess with it. You know what I'm saying? I just let it go. But when it comes to our paranormal team, and once we go out and we have to edit, dude, I have to hire somebody because I have no freaking clue on how to cut, put music, letters, names, all that crap. To me, I'd rather pay somebody $50 per video, let them do it, and that's where I ain't got to worry about it. And I always tell them, your videos, my videos, what you do is representing me. Now, your intros and all that stuff, you also have something to do with it. So whatever you do, you got to make sure it looks good. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to half-ass doing. If I got to pay you a little extra, I'll pay you an extra $10. That's $60. That's $60 that take a really good editor, maybe 20 minutes? Probably not even that. To edit a video, bam, 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 and then it's next thing you know, it's on YouTube. So I mean, you just made some quick money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
So yeah, I feel you on that because like I recently did a video and the process it took me from start to finish was, I know it's going to sound like a long time, but it was like 3 or 4 days. But that's not 24/7 working on it. That's like maybe 3 hours one day, 2 hours another day, an hour one day, or 4 hours one day.
one day,
And it's, a huge chunk of time, but it's spread out. And it always makes me laugh because I'm like, I'll sit there and in my mind going, oh my God, this video is going to be so long. Everyone's going to complain it's so long. And then I'll be like, oh my God, it's under half an hour.
it's not bad. It's not
No.
bad.
And so it's like, it always surprises me that I'll be like maybe putting in like 12 hours of editing and stuff into it. And it's less than a half hour.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I mean, I've seen people have 2 hour. You're like, man, come on, dude. Who in the hell is gonna watch this video for 2 hours? You
Yeah.
know, after a certain amount of time, I lose interest. I've always been like that. If it don't catch my eye the first 20 seconds, I'm flipping the channel, especially if it's on YouTube, because that's where I'm at 98% of the time anyway, on
Yeah.
YouTube.
That's
Um,
why I said I used to do full investigation, which would be, and I'd say this is a look into an investigation from start to finish of that night. And I'm like, it could end up being 2 hours. And
yeah,
I was
it's
like getting just a few views. And I was like, yeah, everybody wants the evidence. They don't want to watch and have to find the evidence for themselves.
exactly. So you
But
gotta cut, shape, chop, all that other stuff, chop it up, and make sure you get the. Dude, we've done videos where, damn, uh, hell, I tried it. I end up chopping up the damn evidence.
yeah, it drives me nuts when I'm like, okay, I got this block of time, and then I'll be like listening to it and going, that's not the block of time I wanted. Now I gotta go find that block of time again.
Yeah, and it's crazy, dude. And like I'd rather just spend somebody $50 to go do it and make
Yeah.
sure that they do it right. Uh,
And the other frustrating thing is I use built in the computer is, let me see, Paint 3D.
okay.
I'll make my title cards on there. And I'll put so much into writing what's coming up and everything, and I'll get it all looking just right. And then I'll go to save it and it wipes it. And the program closes. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta think about what I said.
Hey, yeah,
Because a lot of times that I do like I think they call it ghost writing or something, where it's like you just start typing and next thing you know you got a paragraph and
right,
you don't
right.
even know what's in that paragraph. And it's like
Yeah.
so frustrating. It's like, yeah, you gotta have so much patience to do editing.
And I don't even use any particular software. If my particular laptop has a editing feature on it, I'll use that. And and they make it so simple that anybody can use it. You basically chop up one square, put it in that square, put it in that square, and you want to hit go, you hit go, it does all the work for you. Next thing you know, you got a video and it's looking good. I'm like, okay, now I'm learning something here,
Yeah.
because and that's how I've been doing it.
Yeah, one of the funny things is because I have dyslexia, is I'll read and I'll pick out, my mind will pick out what I need to read. And so I was like, I went to Upbeat, got music that's supposed to be copyright free, so I can put it in YouTube. And I was like, and they're like, it's all you got to do is give credit to the artist. So I
Right.
put little placard tiles at the end of the video that says special thanks to this person for for the awesome music. And I got copyright flagged from YouTube. And I was like, what are you talking about? When I went back and I looked at it, you have to put what I put on that last placard tile in the description of the YouTube video, not in the video. And so I was
Oh
like,
shit!
oh, and of course, 3D paint, I can't take it out of the placard tile and put it
Yeah,
into text form. So I'm like, oh man, I got to go back, refine that song.
yeah.
Fortunately, the program makes it easy, but I was like, man, it's really funny how when you have dyslexia, one key word
Word,
changes everything. It
everything.
clearly
Uh,
said, make sure you note this person in the description,
Within,
not the video.
yeah. And you know one thing about YouTube, I don't know if you know this, but YouTube has thousands of free music you can listen to that you can use. But the problem is, it's a thousands of music that you don't want to use because
Right.
all of it's horrible. And I'm like, I mean, it's nothing that you want to use for an intro, for an investigation. You
Yeah.
know, it, it's just music. I mean, I
And
don't know where it come from, but it's just music that nobody
well,
wants to use.
yeah, and the funny thing about YouTube is they'll like recently did a YouTube video called Influences on Me, and it was giving people a look into what growing up influenced me, like what TV shows, what games, what movies, what in life influenced me. And so I took a snippet that I had created from a movie, and I knew I would probably get copyright flagged for it, but I was like, this is such an important piece for me if you really want to understand me. So I put it in, and YouTube, of course, flags it. But the funny thing about their flags are, they're like, well, this is a copyright, issue, but if you allow us to put ad in your video, it won't be a strike against you. And so all I did was go into the description and go, hey, there's going to be ads to this video because I wanted to share this video clip from a movie with you. So that's why there are ads here.
Yeah, I got copyrighted. They sent me one because I used Damian Marley's music, and at the time I didn't know, dude, because all this technology is new to me,
Yeah.
and I tried to click on to the the video, and it's like unavailable. I'm like, what the hell? I just made this damn video unavailable. And so I had a buddy of mine that came over. He's like, "Hey, dude, you got red flag because you using Damian Marley's music in one of your videos." And I'm like, "What video is it?" Dude, it was only a 5-second video,
Yeah.
and they like, dude, they made a big fucking thing out of it, and I'm like, I didn't know,
I took yeah, I took my ringtones that I paid for and used them in a video, and they go, "This is a copyright deal, but we're not going to strike you for it, but you know, you really shouldn't be using these." And I was like, okay. And then one, it goes, I had an exclamation point, and I was like, what is the exclamation point copyright? And it was, I had the James Bond theme. And it goes, this is going to prevent you from being monetized, and we can't show this in certain countries because of this song. And they're like, we can leave the music in there and you just won't get monetized. I'm like, I'm not even close to being monetized, so I don't care.
I don't care.
And they're like, and it won't be shown in certain countries. And I'm like, well, I don't like the idea of not having my video, only in certain regions. And so I was like, they're like, you can mute the song and we'll just mute it out of the video. And sure enough, I said, okay, mute it. Next thing I know, all the restrictions are removed. I can't get it monetized because of the other songs, but it can be played worldwide. And
Oh,
it
shit.
always says, whenever I get the copyright thing, it always says, you can't get this one monetized because you did this, but we're not striking you. And I'm like, well, then why are you even calling it out?
Right? They do that
But
just to get up under somebody's skin.
yeah, but the one time I got flagged for something, it cracked me up. Is I was in Ballinger, old uh, City Park Hotel, and I was investigating with Mustafa and the owner and a bunch of other people, and there's this strange light that appears out of nowhere. And so I took a film, trimmed out just the strange light, and I was like, what is this light? I have no idea what this light is. You know what YouTube did?
Was that?
It flagged it and said you have to be 18 years old to watch this video.
Uh,
I was like, why? And they're like, well,
oh,
you can
shit.
dispute it or you can just leave it restricted to 18. And I was like, I don't want to argue with them. A light is, inappropriate for kids under 18 to see. So I was like, just leave it.
That is so crazy, dude. They are so picky about the smallest shit. And I don't understand. Uh, all right, Mr. Michael. It's been a pleasure talking to you, bro. Uh, I
Been a
hope
lot
we
of
can.
fun.
I hope we can do it again. Hey, send me that hat, and I'll send you this one.
I don't know. This one's kind of my treasured hat from Key West.
Never been to Key West. Would like to go there one day. Uh, like I'm saying, it's been a pleasure, bro. Let's do it again.
Definitely.
Are you on any social media besides Facebook, or is it just Facebook?
I mainly do Facebook. I do have Instagram, but I don't really post anything there. That's kind of more where I can follow what's going on in the paranormal community, and I use it kind of to network and see who's doing podcasts or
Right.
interviewing people and just seeing what everybody's up to and following everybody else. I've found lately my Instagram, if I try to upload a photo from my phone to Instagram, it doesn't load. But if I take and put my picture on a computer and say, hey, put it on Instagram, it's like, okay, go ahead. And so I don't know if there's something with my Android phone and Instagram that's not getting along right now.
Yeah,
But
probably so.
yeah,
You
all
may,
those are they become a pain. And so I stick to Facebook and recently got really into YouTube because a lot of people kept saying you should get on YouTube. And like you, I'm like, I don't know how to do YouTube, so I'm not wanting to sit here and learn how to do a huge thing and then find out in like 3 weeks it's going to be obsolete to something else. And
oh yeah, it's
we're like,
dude.
oh no, it's easy. And
That's the
so
one. That's the one thing I hate about my intro. When I used to do intros, I felt like I was so behind time compared to other paranormal intros. You know, they got boom, this, that, and you know what's so crazy about it? And it caught my attention. My little 3 second intro, hell, it puts the baby to sleep. And I'm like, God damn, dude, how in the hell can I even? I need to be doing this, and catching people's attention, because you take people, you get people's attention, you get subscribers, you get the likes and the followers and all that crap.
you're
So yeah,
actually up on me because I don't even have an intro. I'm like, I haven't learned how to do an intro yet.
it's once you get, that's one thing I can do is intros, because it gets, and I use the one going on and going off at the same. I just keep it the same, but I just find something I like, put a little music to it, and I did it off my laptop, my laptop auditing. And the hardest problem I have, Mike, is converting from something to MP3.
Yeah.
I I've tried 100 times. I've downloaded 100 apps, convert to MP3, but none of them work. Or either I wasn't doing something right,
Yeah.
but
Well, the fun I have is I just got a body cam and tried it last night for the first time. So I got all these AVI files of clips, and the program I use to create my videos on YouTube creates AVIs. So I'm thinking, okay, this ought to be easy. I uploaded to the program 2 video clips to send to somebody side by side into one video, so they could listen to it easier.
right.
And it goes, this is not a supported format. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not a supported format? And so I'm like, great. Now I got to figure out how to get those files to be read by this program.
And I hate that.
Yeah.
It was just painted, but anyway, Michael, it's been a pleasure, bro. Like I said, I would love to come back and chat with you again.
Yeah, anytime.
Hopefully, you will start your own podcast. I think you would be a great podcaster, man.
Well, thank you. I've thought about it, and I feel like I'm still too new to the paranormal field that I don't know enough people to have a show go for a certain amount of time.
See, the good thing about that, Mike, is I don't know anybody. It's just that I reach out to people, and the reason why I like it is because I'm learning as I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? So every little bit of information that somebody gives me, you give me, it's just stacking in my head. Especially when it comes to somebody that's and really, seasoned paranormal investigator. Hey, I only been doing it for like 3 years, so I'm taking every little bit in, and I'm going from there. And that's where you do podcasts, also. Just say what you feel. Try to keep it respectful. Try not to hurt anybody's feelings. And just go have fun and ask 1,000,001 questions. And that's the way you learn about the paranormal. I mean, true enough, you learn by being on site and actually doing an investigation. But the second one is when you're out on a podcast talking to 1,000,000 people and you're learning so much, what to do, what not to do, and you learn it from people that has been around, man, been doing it for a very long time. So, I mean, that's why. And plus, I like to meet people.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I do it.
And it builds community.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe how many people I have met in this short amount of time. My followers have jumped up to almost 2,400 followers on just my paranormal page alone. And Instagram, I have just as many. I'm so busy on my Facebook page, I kind of neglected my Instagram page, but I see myself going back to it, because they're all followers on there that wants to know what I'm doing, and all that good stuff.
Right.
And yeah, dude, so you just gotta be, be yourself and just start a part. You already got a laptop. Go ahead and just get your name. Start, just go out and just introduce yourself to the world and just communicate with people.
Yeah.
I would love to be your first, I would love to come on and be your first one. Instead of me asking 1 questions, hey, I love being asked 101 questions. Hopefully I have the answer to all of them. I don't know. But anyway, Mike, I got to go get me something to eat, brother. I appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure. And let's do it again. And Carla, you already know what I do because you've been on my podcast before. But it's always nice to hear your voice. And, this young lady has a lot of insight in the paranormal. She is definitely a diamond. I can definitely give her that. We can talk every day, about the paranormal. We would, but in the meantime, Mike, you have yourself a good night, bro.
Thank you.
And I
You
will
too.
talk to you later. Hey, this is NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast signing off. You guys know what I do. You know what I'm about. Please go hit that share, like, and subscribe button. Let's get these numbers up, man. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the 4th of July. If we can do that, that'd be great. Hey, and besides, it's free. It's not gonna cost you anything. Just beep 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 beep. Go that. And hey, besides, my friend thanks you also. He says goodbye. So Mike, have a good night, bro.
Thank you. You too.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, that was my Kopf from Richardson, Texas, with a paranormal team called Paranormal. You guys go check him out. Show some love to him. Hey, show some love to me. Like I'm saying, let's get these numbers up. Hit that share, like, subscribe button. I do this just because I love to do it. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, NSPS TV is signing off. Peace.